So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to be modeling based off the HEMA fixture because I don't have another lamp base that I want to be using instead. So I can go ahead and click on the link in the handout. This is also a page on Canvas. And this will open up in my browser the public link to this file. I have my lamp components there already modeled, so I can open that in Fusion or download it and then open it in Fusion. And now I drop down my bodies menu. I have two bodies that make up the light bulb, and then I have two bodies that make up the actual components that will clamp your lampshade onto this fixture. So yeah, a lot of times when we're modeling something that needs to work in conjunction with another object, it becomes necessary to model the previous object, right? So I need to have my lamp components modeled so that I can build a lampshade that will fit it appropriately and actually function. And again, that is part of your grade. So if you don't have a different lamp you're working off of, we're starting with this. I'm going to file, save as, lampshade, whoops, so that I am working in my own file and not the shared one. I've done it multiple times, as you can see. Let's close this. My computer is struggling a bit. Okay, so once I have this file open, I can go ahead. I'm going to be working again, like I said, from my paper sketch. So I'm going to start by inserting my canvas or my sketch into this file. I just took a photo of my sketches on my phone. You can also scan them. And I did multiple sketches on the same piece of paper, but I have cropped this one so it is only the lampshade silhouette that I am interested in modeling. I want to put that on one of my two vertical faces. I'm going to choose my front. And I got a warning, what was it? My canvases are not currently turned on, so I want to toggle that on. And I do have multiple that are in here already from building this model that is already here. So I'm going to go ahead and just start to adjust this, to rotate it, to scale it proportionally using that corner arrow. Again, I can use my arrows to drag along an axis, and I could use my white square to move it in any direction. So right now I'm just roughing in the size. This is really just like a guide. I'm not recreating this perfectly. As you can tell, my sketch is very rough. I wouldn't want to perfectly mimic it. I'm gonna go with that. And I'm going to name that my sketch. Okay. So now I want to also kind of make sure I'm roughly in the correct scale in terms of dimensions and size. So I can right click on this canvas and I could edit it if I wanted to move it around more. I'm going to calibrate. So I will click somewhere near the top right here and somewhere near the bottom, and that will tell me what size frame I'm looking at. I am in metric, so I could, if I wanted to, search up the conversion rate there, but I am just going to change my active units to inches so that I don't have to do that for every measurement I'm working on. So again, right click, calibrate. I will click somewhere near the top of my sketch on a line as close as possible, and then click again on the bottom, and that tells me my canvas is 9 inches, and that's about what we're looking for. If I wanted to, I can make it up to about 12 inches. I'm happy. I'm gonna just do a solid 9. I can type in a number there. If I wanted to change it, make it 12, I could enter that. Actually, let's just do 10 for fun. So you can see it has automatically adjusted my canvas for me. Okay. Also, you can tell I have decided to put the entirety of my, actually I'm going to move my canvas a little bit. So right click, edit, and I can move it. I'm designing a lampshade where the entire lamp components, like the socket and also the light bulb, are all contained within the silhouette of the lampshade. So just the power cord is extending through the top and is really like visible. And that's just my particular design. So if I wanted to, I could also pull it down here so just the bulb is within my lampshade and the kind of socket and other components are sticking out of the top. Totally up to you. That's an aesthetic choice. So I'm going to move mine so that, and again I can type in if I want it to be a little bit, where do I want it? I'm going to go there. Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to go hit OK. And now I'm going to start modeling my lampshade. I'm going to start with my horizontal pieces. So you may have noticed in the examples, which would be this page, generally they need at least, well, they do need at least 2 horizontal pieces that all of my vertical pieces will attach into. If I want, I can include more than 2. I can put them both at the top. I can have one at the top, one at the bottom. This one has one near the top, one at the bottom. Again, completely up to you where your vertical pieces are. This one has one within there, and then also that one right there. Really, it's an aesthetic choice for how I want it to look. I'm going to do 3 horizontal pieces. One that's my top, one that will be my functional component that will allow me to clamp my light fixture onto my lamp shade so that they attach together, and then also a bottom piece right here. Again, the number of horizontal pieces is up to you. I could have them everywhere, like I could have a ton of them if I wanted. I'm going to do 3. So I'm going to start with my center one, and I'm going to turn my canvas off for a minute. I'm also going to turn my bulb off for a minute. So this is really my fixture. And the way that it functions is that this whole part is connected. My Hema M right there is one piece, and my Hema F is another piece. The F will screw on to this section right here, which is threaded. So I need to essentially clamp my lampshade in between this solid piece. So it should fit over the threaded part right here, and then clamp in between this piece right here and this piece right here. So I'm going to start with that horizontal piece first because it is very important for this to be functional, which is a graded requirement. So I am going to start by creating a sketch. Actually, I'm not yet. I want to turn my canvas back on and do a few quick calibrations of like how far that distance is right there, so I know how big of a piece I'm wanting to create right now. So let's do right click, calibrate from here to here it's about 5 3/4 inches. Okay. I'm going to repeat that if I can right click. My top is, I'm gonna probably do 5 for my center one, 1.5 for my top, and then finally my bottom is about 3, I'm gonna do 3.5. Again, our canvas is really just for like a rough, just kind of to get our rough shape. We're going to do our specific dimensions in our sketches. So my centerpiece was about 5 3/4, so I'm going to create a sketch. I personally prefer to do, I can place my sketch on one of my 3 axes of my origin, but I can also place sketches on faces of bodies. So these are, any 3-dimensional forms like these are called bodies. I guess we haven't done that yet. So far, we've only worked with sketches, 2-dimensional sketches, but a body is a volumetric form, and then the faces of them are like the flat planes. So I'm gonna choose, you guys can see what I'm actually selecting here, this bottom surface to this ring right here. So now I am sketching. If I kind of rotate, you can see what is kind of highlighted light blue right there, and where my sketch grid is, that is where my sketch is being placed. So I'm going to turn my F off, and I'm going to start with a center point rectangle. And I want to put it directly on my origin, that way I know that I am keeping this completely within the center and I'm not off by like a few pixels or something. I want to drag that part out. So on my sketch, this interior circle right here is the threaded part, and this is the outer lip of the lampshade component. Actually, this is not the updated model. Okay, let me cancel this for a second. I did notice that they've changed this component a little bit, so actually the threaded part is in line with this part right here. So I'm going to make the interior hole with which that I will put this part through. I'm going to make it match up with that instead of this, and I'm sorry about that. I thought that I whoops, edited that, but it does not look like I did. So let's do that again. I'm going to drag, so that is my, to about a little within that little circle right there. I'm going to drag and see that it is in between this and that, so that will be perfect. I do need it to be bigger than this diameter, right, so that I can actually fit that part through. So that's the interior part, and now I need it to extend, what did I say, like 5.75, but I'm going to do 5.5. So again, I can drag out, I can type in if I want it to be a specific size. I'm going to hit enter. Oh. Okay, and now if I turn my canvas back on, I should be able to see, let me zoom out a bit, that is lining up pretty closely with my canvas. So that little piece right there is going to be done. Finish sketch. Okay, now, so far this is exactly what we have. We've done all of these things. This will be something new. So I'm going to go into my modify menu right here. I'm out of my sketch mode. I'm in my like normal environment right here. I'm going to go to change parameters. So parameters will allow you to set your sketches or your extrusions, which is what we're going to do in a minute, which is how I'm one option for how to take a two-dimensional sketch and make it three-dimensional. It will let me set it to a specific parameter, and the best part, most useful part, the reason we're using parameters is that they are infinitely editable. So as I do this next step, let's actually just do it. I'm going to name my parameter material thickness. It doesn't matter what you name it, you just have to remember. And I'm going to put in the thickness of my material, and we're going to be cutting these out of cardboard. So our cardboard is 0.15 inches thick. Actually, I'm going to put it as 1.3. I've already run some tests. The laser cutter, as it cuts, actually burns and removes a tiny bit of material. That's called the kerf. And so when I actually did a test of this, I cut it to 1.5, and my pieces didn't fit snugly together and they kept falling apart. So I want them to like latch into each other tightly and securely so that I can assemble this and not use any glue or any other types of adhesive, tape. I can cut it perfectly so that it all just joints together with friction and holds together that way. So for cardboard, my material thickness, 0.13. I'll hit OK. I will say OK again. And now we are going to perform our extrude function, which is in my create menu. There's my shortcut. I can also drop down, hit extrude, and I want to select the sketch profile that I want to make three-dimensional, which will be just this ring. I do not want the center ring too, because I want that to be a hole. So I have the ability to just drag this, but again, if I set this to my parameter, my material thickness parameter, I will hit enter and then OK. Now it's modeled specifically to my parameter so that, again, like I said, they're editable. So if I went in here and I decided, actually I want to cut this lampshade out of 1/4 inch plywood instead, I can just update my material thickness and it will automatically adjust and populate my model so that it matches my new parameters. That way we can easily change the dimensions and the functions of my lampshade and my parts and my pieces without remodeling everything. So setting to parameters. Again, this is a guideline, one of your graded guidelines. So material thickness set as a parameter. So I have that piece extruded, and that's what it would look like when it is in cardboard. I am going to go ahead now. I can turn my little F on and I can see how that piece is going to clamp right in between this socket and the screwed on part so that it will attach to my lamp components there and hold securely on there. Okay, now I'm going to do my top and my bottom the same way, but I want to do a sketch up here in midair and one down here kind of in midair. So another new thing we haven't done, we're going to build a construction plane, specifically an offset plane, which is the shortcut and also the first on the menu. And this will allow me, so like I've said before, I can build a sketch on one of my 3 origin planes, also the face of a body, but I want to put it up here and there's nothing up there. So I'm going to create a new construction plate where I can build a new sketch. And because I want this to be perfectly horizontal to the piece that I've already created. I will be selecting my bottom plane right there, and I can move it up. It is not on, but also it's not there, so I can see the real subtle silhouette right there. This is also where I can kind of control some of my measurements of my lampshade. Again, we calibrated my canvas, but that is kind of like a roughing in. This is where I'm going to really control the details. So I can put that up. I'm going to move that plane up for, I don't know, 4.25. I think I just want to do 4, even though it doesn't completely match my canvas. That's fine. We'll hit OK. So you can't see it because it's off, so I'm going to go to my design browser, toggle that on. I can see this construction plane. So construction planes are orange. I can edit that if I wanted to move it. Right click, edit the feature. I'm going to go ahead and do a second one. An offset plane, and again I'm selecting the plane that I want to offset from, so the one I want it to be perfectly perpendicular to. Okay, that one I did is 4 inches. This one, I think I actually dragged it from, yeah, this is what I'm offsetting it from. So my top to my bottom is 9.5 inches, and that will work for me. Okay, between 9 and 12 inches is the scale you guys are going for. So now I have my top plane, my bottom plane where I can do my sketches. So I'm going to create a sketch. I want to place it on my top construction plane, and it's kind of a lot to look at. I'm going to turn some of that off. There's my middle one. Maybe I'll work off that. So center point rectangle again, sorry, center diameter circle. And this one is, I think I said, was like 1.5 inches. I might make it slightly larger. 1.75 was my outside diameter. And then I can want to do an interior diameter where my cord is going to come out. So I can make it as big as I want to, but at least large enough to put my cord through. I think I'm just gonna do 1/2 inch, so it's fairly small, and I have kind of a lot of space in here, so it's a little more sturdy and substantial. If I brought my interior circle all the way out to the outside edge, we are making this out of cardboard, so that would be fairly flimsy. Okay, so I have my circle, that's my outer diameter, my circle, that's my interior diameter, and I'm going to finish that sketch. And again, I will extrude that. Keep accidentally right clicking. Okay. To my material thickness, specifically my parameter, I'm going to hit OK. And I want to do my bottom one, my final bottom one. If you have more horizontal pieces, I'm just going to continue this process until I complete this. My bottom, I believe, was 3.5 inches when I did my, when I calibrated my sketch to find out its rough size. And I can edit this later in the future. If I was being super technical and precise, I could add all of these width into as a parameter. So I could do like I'm working on my bottom right now. So I could do my bottom piece, oh boy, diameter, oh boy, to 3.5 inches, hit OK, hit OK. So I could type in bottom piece diameter and set that to a parameter. And that way, if I want to adjust my model quickly and easily in the future, I can just go into my user parameters rather than editing each particular sketch. So I have to decide the interior diameter for this bottom piece, and kind of a good rule of thumb is that I want the material that's left, the like ring essentially, to be at least 3/4 of an inch. So my exterior circle is 7.5, so I want it at the biggest to be 2.75. I'm gonna put mine way in here, 2 inches. Again, aesthetic choice, up to you. I'm gonna extrude this to my material thickness, hit OK. Okay, so I have finished all of my vertical pieces. They are all a little bit different in terms of their interior diameter. If I wanted something more symmetrical, or I was doing more horizontal pieces, I would probably make them this width of this material right here be the same for all of them. But that's, again, an aesthetic choice. Okay, so I have all of my horizontal pieces. I now want to rough in the vertical piece. I'm going to be making mine symmetrical. So all of my vertical pieces are the same. So we're going to create a new sketch again, and I'm going to do it on my vertical plane that matches up with my canvas so that I can kind of trace along that. And let me go back into here. You can maybe see that I want I need my pieces to interlock so that they can fit together. So as I'm drawing this vertical sketch, let me try to isolate one for you to see. I need it to intersect with my horizontal pieces so that they will slot together and I can assemble it. So as I am doing this, what am I doing? Here we go. Vertical piece, as I'm doing the sketch, I want to go into my horizontal pieces, and the amount I slot into is up to me. It kind of depends on what the interior shape I'm creating I want to look like, but I am going to use a spline because I have a curve. I want it to go in the middle of this piece of material, but I don't want to go all the way through because I need this to stay a connected and complete circle. So I'm going to go about right here, and I could start right, it will be a little more secure if I start above my horizontal piece. But I'm going to kind of rough in my lampshade, and I'm not really following my sketch because I do want to intersect this with my horizontal piece. So I can turn that canvas off a little bit, look at that silhouette, see if I am happy with it. I can hit escape to exit my spline tool, and if I want to, I can click on these, adjust them. Well, maybe I'll do something, maybe I won't make it exactly the same as my other model. This isn't quite enough overlap, so I do want to pull this in or adjust the curvature so it fits a little better. But it got kind of ugly up there. Again, toggling on and off the visibility of my canvas so that I can kind of look at what I've got going on. See if I am liking it. I want a smooth flowing curve personally. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm going for it. Okay, so this is the interior edge of my vertical piece, and now I can create the exterior piece. So starting with the interior so that I'm making sure it's overlapping with my horizontal pieces, so I will be able to latch them in together. I'm making this worse, but I don't like it. Oh well. You can see in this model my piece is a consistent width the whole way, and it's the outer curve matches the inner curve. If I wanted to do that, I could use my offset command, click on that and pull it out. Again, I would do at least 0.75 so you have some substantialness to your pieces, so they are a little stronger. Since we are working with cardboard, I do want them to be strong. I am going to do a different shape just to switch it up. Maybe I'll make this one nice and weird. Okay, so whatever I do need to make sure that it's a full connected solid path, so it should shade in blue. I needed to shade in blue for the extrusion part to make it a three-dimensional form, so make sure that you have that. I can now hit finish sketch and extrude that again. Okay, select it, extrude to my material thickness yet again. Because my bodies, my three-dimensional forms, are overlapping, the default operation here is cut, but I actually want to make it a new body, so its own body rather than cutting. They're intersecting each other, which is what I want. Okay, I have my vertical piece. If they are all the same, which is probably the easiest approach, I am going to now go to my create menu, select pattern, and I'm going to do a circular pattern, and this will allow me to do my radial design. So I first need to change this to bodies. If I have it on faces, it's only selecting one surface of my three-dimensional form, and I want it to select the entirety of it. So make sure it's on bodies. I will click that. I will now click this access box so I can select the axis with which I am creating my pattern, and it should be your vertical axis. And I can add in as many vertical pieces as I want to. Again, that's kind of just dependent on your personal aesthetic, how dense you like them to be. I do need to keep an eye on if I especially have any small pieces, horizontal pieces. I need to make sure that my vertical pieces are not running into each other. So if I start to add a lot here, I can see they're all running into each other, which will create an issue. when I assemble. It also makes this top piece, my top horizontal piece, have many cutouts and therefore be pretty fragile. So I don't know, I'm gonna do it less dense than my other model was. Maybe I'll do 9 and hit OK. So now I can see what my completed and assembled lampshade will look like. I haven't named any of my bodies, which I should have been doing. So I'm going to go back and name them so I can know what they are. That's my center piece. This is my top piece. Again, if I just click on it, it will highlight in my model which body I'm working on. This is my vertical piece, and I'm gonna leave it as that. I'm gonna leave all those ones. Okay, I have my form. If I wanted to do something more asymmetrical, like this one right here, all of these vertical pieces are different. So instead of creating the pattern, I can create various vertical construction planes. I don't want to pull it straight out. I want to rotate it. Maybe we're not doing an offset plane. We could do a plane at an angle. And I want to do it off of my vertical axis. So I'm now building a new construction plane. You can barely see it down there. Maybe let me turn my origin is on. Can you see it? The little baby one down there in the middle. So I could make multiple new construction planes that are vertical, and therefore I could do a sketch on each of them so that each of my vertical pieces are a little bit different. That is an option for you as well if you want to make some final shape that's more asymmetrical and different. Also, after I complete my pattern, if I'm not really happy with the overall silhouette that I've created, I can go back into my sketch, which again I should have labeled, but I can click on it and find out which one it is. I could edit this and add, I don't know, I could put a little cutout in here. It doesn't have to be a solid piece. Maybe it will look cool if I have that. I'm gonna have to back up here. I'm going to edit. This is my timeline, by the way. Every function operation I've completed is in here. So if I need to edit something, I can go, and I can't easily edit it from my design browser. I can add an operation down here. So my extrude, I can right click on that and edit that feature. I can deselect that center piece. So now I have that cut out, which I also hate. It's a little alien-esque, but it's a little eyeball-y. I don't know. I could do more design and detail cutouts in there if I wanted to make it more complex. I would probably just personally, I would fully edit the sketch into a different shape because I prefer something like this rather than alien-y. Okay, so once I am happy with the way my lampshade looks, and again, this is exactly what it's going to look like when I cut it out and assemble it. So if I'm not happy at this point, I need to do some adjustments. But we'll pretend I'm happy with this. I like it. now I need to do some more operations so that I can create the cutouts in my horizontal pieces so that I can slot my vertical pieces into my horizontal ones in order to assemble it. Right now, if I hide those vertical pieces, you can see my horizontal ones are still complete circles. I need that little slot in order to fully assemble these. So happy with my design, pretending I'm happy with it. I'm now going to do a series of operations, Boolean operations to, so far we've mostly just been creating our three-dimensional forms. Now we're going to use our modify menu to change them. So I want to do a combine operation, and whatever is highlighted again is what I'm working on. So I want to choose my target body, and my target body is the body that I want to change or to cut out of. And so I'm going to choose my horizontal pieces one at a time. I could start with the top if I wanted, but I'm going to start with my center. So I've selected that, and now it's asking me what my tool bodies are, and that is going to be all of my vertical pieces. So I can just click on all of them. This is a slow way, I'll show you the fast way in a minute. Because it is cutting, it should turn red, and I can see in my blue piece, which is my target body, where all those cutouts are going to be. So that is exactly what I want. Now, I also have to make sure right there my keep tools is checked on. If it is off, my vertical pieces are my tools with which I am cutting into my centerpiece. If it is off, my vertical pieces disappear, which I can undo and fix later, but it's easier to make sure that's checked first. Now if I start hiding my vertical pieces, I can see the corresponding cut in my center horizontal piece. I'm going to complete that, do that process for both my top and my bottom and any other horizontal pieces I have. So again, my target body is what I click first, and I can click each of my vertical ones. I can also select them in my design browser over here. If I hold shift, I can select all of them at once. I forgot this one, command, so select a single one. Okay, and one more time, combine for my bottom, and my tool bodies will be all of my verticals, and I will hit OK. So now if I hide my vertical pieces, I should have the corresponding cutouts in my horizontal ones so that I can actually assemble this. And again, I'm making sure that, honestly, if I were really doing this, I might adjust this bottom one because the cutouts go fairly far into the center with just a little bit of material right there. And for cardboard, that might make it a little bit unstable. So if I wanted to, I could find that sketch, right click on it, oops, right click, edit, hide all those bodies. Because I did not set this to a parameter, I just have to delete it. If I had set it to a parameter, I could easily adjust it, but I might make that maybe 1.5 now instead of 2 inches. Finish that sketch. I will have to adjust my extrude, which was this one. Right click, edit that feature. I want to deselect my center hole, hit OK. There we go, and now I have a little bit more space in between my slots and the interior, so it's a little bit of a sturdier piece. Okay, So final step. I have all of my pieces, my bodies, and they look correct. However, I have all the corresponding cutouts in my horizontal piece, so that is all good. However, I've only been editing my body so far. Did you see when I edited that bottom sketch right there? Not my vertical, my bottom. That it is still a circle and it does not include the cutouts. So I need to make a new sketch that includes the cutout so I can save that as a DXF and cut it out on the laser cutter. So I'm going to create sketch. I only need to do this to my 3 or however many horizontal pieces I have, because I have changed these through my bodies, but I have not yet changed my sketch. So I have clicked on the top surface of my center and I want to go to create. I'm in a sketch right now. I created a new sketch and I'm going to go to my create and select project, and I want to click on, so that this top surface of this body is highlighted, this face. That's what I want, including those cutouts, right? And hit OK. I'm going to title this sketch Center to Cut, because that is the sketch that has the cutouts in it, not this previous sketch, right? I don't need that one anymore. So now both my body and my sketch have the cutouts in them. And now I will repeat that 2 more times for my other horizontal pieces. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to put it on this top surface of my top guy. Trying to zoom in here. I'm going to create and project. If I start to get, there's too much going on for me. Whoops, I do need my top piece. There we go. I'll turn that off. So I want that whole thing highlighted, so I have the whole geometry, and I will hit OK. So yeah, basically I put it on that one. That's okay, but I don't really want to do that. Okay. It's easiest to do this if you isolate your pieces separately. It actually doesn't technically matter what plane your sketches are on. I just find it is a bit easier to know what you're actually doing if you put them on the correct plane. Okay, finish sketch. So there's my sketch on my top piece. I'm going to turn that off. I did my center and now I want to do my bottom. Also going to name this top to cut and then turn it off so it's out of my way. One more. Create sketch on the top surface of my little gear looking thing. I want to project. I want to project the entire geometry. Hit OK. Finish sketch. Okay. And that is my bottom to cut. Okay, so these are the 3 sketches that I need in order to cut this out on the laser cutter. Also my vertical piece. So these 4 sketches, if I had vertical pieces that were all different, I would need all of those. So each unique sketch I need to save as a DXF. Yeah, we'll talk more about that next time, but I'm going to save each unique sketch as a DXF, open it in Illustrator, format it correctly for the laser, and then cut it all out, and then I should be able to assemble it so that it looks like my 3D model. And I also have had my bulb components turned off. Let me turn my sketches off, turn everything off. But I can toggle those back on while I'm making this if I want to see like how it's actually going to look with the light fixture components. That may or may not affect your design and aesthetic choices. But this is my finished lampshade, and I have my 4 sketches that I'm going to save as a DXF and use those to laser cut. So this is where I need to be for next class. I'm going to submit, previously we submitted the DXF files, but I'm going to have you guys submit a public link so that I can go into your file and look at it and make sure everything is correct for cutting. So I am going to go to File up here at the top. I will select Share. I will select Public Link. I'm going to toggle this so that I have the check mark. I want to make sure I have Allow Item to be Downloaded checked on as well. You'll copy this link and paste it into the Canvas assignment. And that will be all. Email me if you guys have questions.